you want to leave London.
Yeah.
Can't even say it in a normal voice. What do you see me doing in this scenario?
This is the impact of social media, I think. It's easy to assume that things are better.
I quite like a bald man.
What? Mate, I think you're with the wrong geezer. No.
What are you going to do?
No.
You're going to be on your own.
Foxy.
What's wrong, my dog?
I'm losing my hair by the day.
You've got a great head of hair.
I've got a lot of like follicles on top. You love the way I say follicles, don't you?
Well, I don't know why you say follicles.
Cules.
There's follicles. Ryan's obsessed with stimulating his follicles.
Yeah, well, it worked for
With a hairbrush.
most part of my life. Now it's not working. That's just falling out. My mum used
You're
to be a
like
hairdresser.
Rapunzel. You brush your hair for like an hour
Yes.
and you go through all of my tangle teasers of different bristle strengths. Just massaging your scalp and then you get them really greasy.
Oh, hang on. To be fair, I have to use like oil in my hair because it's like moss. I've got hair like moss. You know when you like, it's like when you pour water on my hair, it doesn't get wet for a good minute or so because it just like sits on top of this mossy, bouncy hair. It's ridiculous.
No, it's like cat
Oil's
fur.
the only thing that I can style it with.
It's like cat fur.
It's like cat fur,
You're in cat.
That's why I wear
The
hats a
musical.
lot. Is to literally like contain the beast.
So what are you worried about, the V's?
My hairline, okay? If
Well,
you really
that's
want to
fine.
expose me.
I did a job not so long ago with a little. You can just spray it in with a little. You can buy a spray and just sort of spray paints your scalp.
Oh no, I've seen blokes do that. It's literally like a dark spray, right?
Yeah, I used it. I actually
I'm
used
not doing
it for
that.
an
I'm not doing
episode.
that. I think I'm just going to pack my bags and get to Turkey. I think it's come to it now.
You know, there are some people that go on holiday to Turkey with their family and they don't realise that
Slope
they're going
off.
to a destination where everyone on the way home has got like those bandages around their heads and the kids are like, oh
I
my
saw it.
God.
I saw it recently at the airport. It's actually pretty
did?
gnarly. Yeah, they got like fully like. Oh, I don't even know how to describe it.
Well, we know like 3 or 4 people quite well there was a little domino,
Yeah.
wasn't there? They all went to Turkey
Yeah,
a month after each
I should
other.
have joined them because now I'm going to have to go by myself.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome back to He Said, She Said, first episode of 2025.
Woo woo.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
We're in a better spot than last year. January was a bit of an interesting time for us.
Well, no, because January we went to Antigua and we thought that we were in the clear.
Yeah, we thought we were living at large. So January is obviously the
Living at
crappiest
large.
month in the UK, right? January and February, because all of the joy of Christmas is over and it's just really cold and muddy. And we thought, we were being quite spoiled, so we thought we'd go away for the whole of Jan. So we went skiing and then we went
Oh yeah.
to Antigua.
How did I forget that?
And then we had to fly back for an emergency surgery. So it was a weird start to the year. But then it's actually ended up, it was actually a pretty cool year. A year of like many, many highs and many lows. But yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys have followed us along that journey. So you'll know about most of that. I kind of want to talk more about what our intentions are for this year.
Oh yeah, good one. Yeah. What have you got any?
Normally I do write like a list, like a little task list, like a tick list of all the things I want to achieve.
You're a Notion gal, aren't you?
I'm such a Notion girl.
Yeah. I introduced you to that. I'm sure I introduced
No,
you.
you didn't.
I thought I did, and then you just completely like dominated it, and now you use it to like the pro level. I'm still on the basic user. Anyway, go on. Tell us about your list. What's on there? Where are we going? Where are we starting? Where are we going?
Why I actually want us to start with the he said, so it's more of one of your aspirations. Ryan, you said.
I said. He said.
He said.
He said.
You said. You've actually said this a lot.
I said it.
You've said it, and you've said it a lot, and it's kind of freaking me out. That you want to leave London.
Yeah.
Can't even say it in a normal voice.
Not leave. I don't think that was ever in my. I don't think that's ever been an option on the table because I know that you're such a London gal and you've got a very unique situation with brother there, mum there, dad like 3 miles away. So I don't imagine that would ever step away entirely. But having said that, one of our joint aspirations, I think, hope, is that we can accrue enough money to then get like a second spot somewhere, which is where I'll be most of the time.
For a long while, though, you wanted to be full-time country.
No, I still do, but I'm compromising.
And my feeling was, after you've chopped down, 10 trees and like burnt all those logs, you're going to be so bored.
No.
You are.
No, you still don't know how basic I am then, because that would keep me occupied for years.
Would it? Okay.
Yes. I'll be out. Listen, all I want is
What's
a
your dream
driveway
day?
so I can like wash my cars and play with my motorbikes. I want some fresh logs with an axe so I can keep us warm in the house. And I want a green field. I reckon my relationship with the dogs would be so much better if I had actual space rather than like a tiled backyard where I'm just constantly hosing piss and picking up shit all day, every day. That's not the best life for the dogs or me.
Don't bring the dogs into this.
It's part
We
of the
all
package.
know about your relationship with the dogs.
Look at the dog I'm squeezing in my hands. I'm so jacked up about this
You're
idea.
So nervous.
Get me out of London.
You've got a stress ball. Oh, that's actually quite satisfying. Hold him.
Oh, you want to stretch him? Yeah. This was actually for Leo, and I was like, oh, yoink.
Oh my God, can I play with him?
No.
It's such a big decision, isn't it? I think people get to a certain stage in life where you do question where the best place to live is. Okay, so while you're living it, okay, you're living your best life, chopping logs, and with this grassy field, and what was the other thing? What else are you doing?
I'd like to go for a run. Let's start this again, okay? What I don't like is I have a constant nightmare of, and there's a reason why I didn't build it myself, but outside the front of our house here, we've got a pretty high wall, the highest wall on the street. We built it and we put a gate there, and I did it because it's such a busy main road, and with 2 dogs, and now we've got a toddler who has worked out how to open the front door. I have a recurring nightmare about the traffic and potential like scenarios. Freaks me out all the time. But that aside, even me, as soon as being inside this house is lovely. It's very quiet, and actually, when you're back there in particular, you don't really hear the traffic at all. As soon as I step out there, I get like an allergic reaction. It's just like someone's squeezing my neck.
Really?
I hate it. I hate the fact that you've got like slow moving traffic. As soon as you open the pink door, it's like, whoom, eyes are on you. And I'm like, I just don't like it at all. Well, I'll tell you what else I don't like. I don't like being able to pack. If I park my car there and mount the curb, I'm either getting a ticket or some twat on a bike who's going to hit my wing mirror, or there'll be some pedestrian who's got a problem with me loading my car outside my gaff. I hate it. Just give me a driveway. Give me a gravel driveway with a little gate if possible. And just let me have my private, quiet space. Okay?
So that's actually a big thing for you.
Yeah, I used to love washing cars. My dad was
You
like, do you
are
want to earn some
so-
pocket money? I'm like, yeah, dude, let's go and wash some cars. I used to love it. I used to love washing
Yeah, but
cars.
that's because you were a kid and you got paid like £1 probably in pocket money to do it every weekend.
But, mate,
But so you want to do that every day?
I-
Okay, so
no, not
essentially what you're
every
saying.
day.
Yeah, but that's okay. So you're painting a picture of you're going to move to the country. You're not going to work. You're going to chop logs. You're going to roll around in a field, and you're going to wash cars.
epic.
Okay, so there are a few things. First of all, what do you see me doing in this scenario?
Probably bezzing into London on the train 4 times a week, like a banshee.
And do you want that life for me, the commuter life?
No, but that's what you want, because you like the hustle and the speed and the like 15 spinning plates on every part of your body. You like that.
Well, I wouldn't want to spend £1,000 a month on train fares. I think there are other things as well. The DVD girl, who we see every day. She's now our friend.
She works for Amazon.
She drops
but
off the
okay.
parcels.
She's not. She'd be disappointed with that. She's a freelance Amazon delivery driver. But yes.
How do you know she's freelance? You freak.
Oh, mate, because I see her out on the road all the time.
She's so cute. She's actually like the cutest girl in the world. And I don't know why I'm calling her a girl. She's probably my age.
She
I'm a
probably
girl.
is, yeah. She
Or
is
am I a
sweet,
woman?
yeah. Where are you going with this?
Okay, so I'll really miss her. I'll miss Deliveroo.
Right, okay, so
we
it's-
also work every day, like how we're recording the podcast with the podcast team. You know, there are people that we employ. Last night I went out for dinner with 2 of my best friends, literally around the corner to a pub. It was the best night I've had in a really long time. How are we getting anywhere? Like, what are we entertaining ourselves with? Obviously, I'm really used to living so close to my family. It'd be really odd not seeing them. And also, sorry, a big part of this, I'm being really selfish.
Access to the medical services.
Oh my God, sorry,
That's what you're going to say, isn't it?
We are 5 minutes, 1 minute in an ambulance from the hospital.
Okay, well now
All of
you're
the
starting to
doctors
make
around
some
here.
sense. The rest of it,
Okay.
I'm disregarding.
The Leo's at a really, really beautiful nursery, and there are amazing
He's got
schools
less
around
than a
here.
year left there, then he's into school. Do I want him to go to school in London? No, I do not want him to go to school in London. It's also eye-wateringly expensive.
I think
And
but there's
their
really
school
good.
playgrounds are no bigger than these 2 rooms put together.
That's not always the case. There are really good grammar schools around here that aren't expensive, and I just feel like, look, I feel like we're too young. There's also like, and now I'm being
Look
really
at my hairline,
honest.
bruv. Look at my hairline.
I think that
It's
we
getting
are.
worse.
It would be lonely. Me, you, and Leo. So the compromise, and we've been here before and had this
I
discussion.
feel like I need to stand up and
Hang
talk to
on.
you about this.
Okay, this
You're
is
getting
actually
me real worked up.
All right, okay.
You're not describing this well.
Okay, I'll tell you when we can move to the country. We can move full time to the country in a palace when we have more kids. So we need to prioritize that somehow, so that it's more of like a brood. It can't just be me, you, and Leo. It just feels unfair. What are we going to do? What are me and Leo going to do while you're gallivanting around?
You've not got a good view of what the actual version of this looks like. This is like we'd have it and we'd probably go there Thursday to Sunday every other week. I might be there more. But
you won't be able to go to Soho House, and you won't be able to meet Will, your best friend, like any of your best friends, and do all of your work and your videos and stuff.
No.
What are you going to do?
No.
You're going to be on your own.
Listen, if you're not up to it, the other option is that I just buy a very small, modest crap place, because I haven't got as much cheese as you. and I just go there when I please, basically.
Yeah, but do you want to know what's even more funny about this whole conversation is that this has been on the cards for years. This isn't even a new conversation. And I keep saying,
What do you keep saying?
let's do it then. Do you remember when we came back from Cornwall and we had an amazing time there over the summer, and you were so adamant that you hated London and that you needed to get out of town? And I said, okay, look, here's the deal. We will, if you find a bunch of places.
It all on me.
So because it's your ambition. So if you find a bunch of places, you whittle it down to like the best 2, then I'll schlep 6 hours away each way to come and view them. For us, it's actually quite a big deal because it'll be the first property. It would be really nice to have a project that we can start together, that we go in on together. And I think that would feel pretty good for both of us. The thing is, right, is we go away. We're really lucky because we go away a lot on the weekends. So we get the best of all of these different places. So that's a glorified version of the countryside. So we got the best of Cornwall when we were there in the summer and it was blazing hot. But then in the winter, it's going to be raining all the time. And then you might get sad and depressed. And you're not going to be out on a boat and sunbathing and by a pool. And there's like a huge responsibility with owning a second home, and then you feel, my parents always said this, because actually we had a house in South Africa growing up, and
slightly further away than North Devon,
which is amazing and really cool, but they felt then that they were always tied to that place and you don't get to explore. And I love the freedom of exploring a lot of different spots.
Sure.
And I also sound like a twat, but I think, because I speak to my therapist actually a lot about this, and I think that we speak a lot about relationships and compromise, because it's really important for me to hold a mirror up and make sure that I'm being fair, not always like
where's that mirror?
Being bossy. But whenever we walk back through the front door, having been away, we both always are like, home. Like, we love it here. There's like a sense of relief.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that there's the grass often feels greener elsewhere. And this is a direct line that Caroline, my life coach, just said. She was like, if you've got problems, they will follow you wherever you go. And I know a lot of people look for an easy route out, which might be it's not actually an easy route out, but making like big life changes and thinking, but if I go there, I can start a new life and I can, different scenery, birds cheeping every morning, smell of cut grass. Like, it sounds amazing. Like, let's just nip down on a bicycle to Dalesford and pick up that like basket of lavender and be decorating the house all the time. But that's not reality. Like, you might see that on Instagram and it makes you feel like shit because you think, I follow someone who's got this most idyllic life with like 4 boys and they've got horses that like live inside the house and they like come in and out and they're like eating croissants off the table and they've got big picnics over there.
That is actual heaven.
It's actual heaven. I've shown you. And they have picnics and they're like schlepping through like over these little bridges and then they lay it all out. And it's really beautiful. But I just don't think it's us actually as people. And when you get there, you've got to build that life. And that's going to take years. And then you've got to make relationships and find new people. And there's a much smaller pool of people. And also we have the thing where we go, do you remember, like, we love going to stay with your parents in Devon. But then when you walk around and you actually try and imagine yourself relocating there, you think, okay, well, it's not just the place, like that one house, which might be spectacular. It's walking around and going, okay, this is my local playground where my son's going to be playing. What are the other people like here? Oh, there are a lot of much older people because they've come there to retire. So they might be, like 60, 70, 80 plus even. Like it's like God's waiting room there. But it's stunning. But I think there's so many factors to consider, aren't there?
Those are all very valid points, to be fair. I don't think at any stage we're suggesting that we're going to move away full time. This was really designed to be like, almost like I know it's very privileged to even like say this could be an option for us, but it's like an escape bolt hole, like weekend spot. It can be modest. It doesn't need to be big. Like you've mentioned like gravel driveways and like mansions, but like realistically, that is not what we're going to end up with. We can obviously aim for something like that, but I don't think.
At what point would you want? Because it also a big part for us, a big consideration is the fact that we've got a little boy who's like at the core of most of our decision making.
Yeah, and let me tell you this:
and
in that kitchen there, he's got 2 motorised motorbikes, a G-Wagon, he's got a scooter and 2 manual bikes. He's going around that kitchen island, and he's like, "Can I go outside?" And there's like 6 meters of concrete in the garden for him. Like it would be epic. Like my brother's place. He's got a lovely like lawn backyard with space. Like that's important for Leo. That's what I had growing up. I was lucky was when we moved around as a family. I had not like the sort of perfect Devon lifestyle that you've described, but don't forget I didn't grow up in Devon. I was on the bounce. I was in Wiltshire, Australia, Germany, Wales. Like, I had some really like deep country experiences growing up, and I loved it. Like playing in brooks and canals and like falling off my bike into stinging nettle bushes and playing manhunt in the New Forest and stuff like that. Mate, I've got such good childhood memories of being out in the sticks. So, back to your point. It is me, actually. What you're describing in terms of like the slow, slightly isolated, quieter, like not knowing where you're going to get your next carton of milk from. Kind of like that. But actually, as a caveat to that, I do also, I am very much aware that when we go away on these trips, we're very lucky to experience like the best version of it, whether it's like the beautiful hotels or the nice restaurants or whatever it might be. We're lucky in that sense. So I know that there's maybe some slice of reality that's missing from those versions. I love Fulham. I think it's great for many reasons. Leo loves his little nursery. He's got pals. We've got a lovely house. There's family. There's lots of pros that I'm fully aware of and I love them. But at the same time, like how it makes me feel as an individual day to day, I don't know if it's my spot. And when I go to somewhere that's quieter with more open space, whether it's woodlands or seaside, I can feel my shoulders drop. I can feel my energy a lot more centered. In London, I feel frantic. I feel like, and I've become quite a stressed person, hence the...
No, fine.
Bad airline. I think for me personally, I would love to collectively work ourselves into a position where we could afford a second spot and we could go there Thursday to Sunday every other week or every week or something. Treat it like a weekend, like reset, come back to the chaos, reset.
I'm in.
She's in!
Well, no, because I mean, no, if you feel most like yourself in that environment, it's not fair for you to be here all the time.
No, it's a prison. No, I'm joking.
He's not joking.
I'm not joking.
You're not joking.
Are you one of those people that do you almost avoid sitting with yourself in quiet by just distracting yourself with things, or can you do it? Can you sit still? Can you sit still and just enjoy like doing nothing? You're doing it right now as a test, aren't you? You're like there. You're like a little moth looking at the lights.
It's hard. I find it really hard. But I know that it's good. I used to do it when I was in my happiest spot, which was actually during lockdown, which was, it's different circumstances. We all had a lot more free time, and also we weren't parents. But I used to lie down every morning for an hour on the floor and see what kind of came up, and I would just write in a dark room, which is pretty full on. So I was good at it back then. Processed a lot of stuff. Now, no, I think post the trauma, with people that have like moderate sort of anxiety or, some slightly more like general mental health stuff, it's often recommended to make time for mindfulness and, create space for, time alone and that kind of thing and journaling. But when you have been through something really, really traumatic, it can be a very, very scary place. So actually, it's not been something I prioritized. But I would like to more now. Do you remember when I was in post the stoma surgery, which was basically like a year ago? Exactly.
Was it?
Yeah.
I've got something really important to say.
I just want to say this. Do you remember when you came to visit and when I finally turned on the telly, there was, I had escaped, it was the chateau one. It was the, like, move to France and buy like a monster chateau for like couple of hundred grand and do all that like lovely stuff and like host weddings and things there.
Yeah.
And I remember turning to you saying, well, that's what we need to do. Like, that's going to solve all of our problems and solve all of my health stuff. And then, you know, you crash back down to reality. And then I actually spoke to my family about it as like a reasonable suggestion. And they were like, okay, so a few things. Again, it's a big commitment. Like, it's a lot of money, even upkeeping like a big spot. It's not just buying somewhere. It's then all the maintenance is a lot.
Sure.
And also you do see the kind of the glamorized version. But I absolutely would like to create more space to really unwind.
Okay, so to that
at the
point,
end of the week with Leo, and I also love outdoor stuff. Like, you know, I'm like really sporty. I love climbing trees. Like, I was always a bit of a tomboy growing up. Like, I love like rough and tumble. I love 40-40. I love like sprinting, running, you know, like jumping into puddles and outdoor swimming. And that's me, which is why, and actually it brings us back to why we first met and why we first connected in the first place.
Looking back on when we first met.
But we did, and now we've kind of like really lost that, haven't we? We our whole relationship was forged on being active together.
Can I feel like I need to just get something off my chest.
Yeah.
With your personality type being, is it type A? You're quite fast-paced, overachiever. You like to be in the thick of it. You like to work hard. You don't really slow down for much, right? That's you. I think a combination of that, and this is why I was trying to ask about, like, can you sit still with your own thoughts, or do you just flood yourself with distractions? I just think, like, and this is a refreshed motivation from my perspective. Having been through what you've been through physically with your health, I'm sure that professionals would join me in this same sort of process of thinking. Surely, like, being in an environment that is less stimulated, calmer, you got fresh ocean breeze, less traffic, less kind of just, I'm trying to think of another word for stimulus, but it is stimulus. We've got sirens and traffic and doorbells and barking and Leo throwing tennis balls at our faces. Like, I would think that for someone like you in particular, setting me aside from this right now, I would have thought that it would go a long, long way to your recovery and kind of realigning your whole self and chakra. Is that right?
Chakras, just throwing the shit.
Trying to sound like a yogi over here.
I'm in agreement.
So if you're in agreement, like, I would have thought that you would almost be more motivated than I am to get that option.
I am actually.
Sweet. Articulating it well. We got what we wanted. Boom. We're going to the country, baby.
I think it is actually important for us.
I think it's important for you. My point is, in this part of the conversation, I think it's important for you. Arguably more important for you with what you've been through.
I still need to get out of that trap of being so busy on like lots and lots of little tasks that I fill my time with, because there are infinite numbers of them.
Oh, by the way, I'm not saying that you have to stop work, like, not stop your life. I'm just saying, like, let's create that option where you have that space.
But even just like the whole, you know, I've kind of put it off, seeing it as like a huge project to find the right spot. But I think it's important to make time for these big moves this year. So actually 2025 is for doing less of like the little stuff and thinking bigger picture and saying, okay, look, let's just like take this whole day to travel around the country and find the right place.
You know what? This is not really my style to say this, but like, we could also just do something for a year or even 6 months. Like, we could rent somewhere in Wiltshire or Hampshire for 6 months or 12 months, and we could try the weekend escape option and see if it works. Because, like, when you said like trying to find the right spot, I mean, I don't know how much I buy into this, like, right time, perfect spot, perfect time to have a wedding, a baby, a house, whatever it is. Like, life's moving. Just if you want to make some changes to like improve your happiness and well-being, just go after it. Otherwise, we're just going to be doing this same conversation next year. I will be bald by the time we get to the countryside, and that won't be a vibe.
I quite like a bald man.
What? I mean,
don't be too
do you?
shocked. Yeah.
Man, I think you're with the wrong geezer. You said the other day you like skinny, emaciated blokes with now no hair. I'm literally the opposite.
I didn't say emaciated. Oh, hang on.
You did. You were like,
I did
ooh.
not say emaciated.
What did you say? You said you fancied Eminem and someone else. Eminem. Like, imagine that. Louise Thompson has a crush on Eminem of all people. I thought you'd go for like.
You thought I'd go for Chris Hemsworth because that's who you think you look like.
Luckily, you've been there enough times where people have been like, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Yes, keep saying it, keep saying it." Well, I look forward to doing some Zoopla research. Was it Zoopla? Yeah. I hope this is the year where we find a spot, but we do need to compromise on this, and it's going to be a little battle. But hopefully, we'll find the spot.
I'm excited.
And I can't wait. 2025 is the year when Ryan gets out of London.
Shall we look at the listener submissions?
Yes.
Yes, I've got a really good one actually. I wanted your advice on overcoming feeling stuck and gaining a sense of autonomy in your life if this is something you've both experienced. I'm 25 years old and feel like I'm not moving forward and consciously panicking about the future. For context, my family own a coffee shop, and over the past year, I left my graduate consultancy job to aid the business as my father became unwell. I work 6 days a week and mainly manage the kitchen, and I'm trying to boost business. A lot of my peers don't believe that I do this much. And I feel like I'm undervalued as I get so many questions by friends and customers asking me, but you went to university, so what are your next steps? I feel immense responsibility as this business is my family's livelihood, and I don't feel that people understand that I am a major contributor to the business and not just living off my parents. My salary also depends on how much the business makes, and I often miss out experiences with friends for this reason, but feel embarrassed to say. I'm now in a position where I can begin to apply for jobs, which I have, but no luck. But I'm clouded by so much noise in my head with where I want to go. I do not feel accomplished because it is my family's business, not mine, even though I have contributed a lot. I feel isolated and not on the same level as the people I'm surrounded by. How would you overcome feeling stuck?
That's an interesting one.
So much wisdom, and from I don't know, you're only 25.
Working with family is probably quite difficult. I haven't really done it before, but I've got friends who do work with family and other businesses, and I know that I think it's quite a tricky dynamic. So she's probably got a huge moral obligation that she feels that she should be there to support and really contribute to make sure that the family business survives and thrives and goes on. Maybe it's something like a generational thing, I don't know. But I'd imagine that is quite a heavy burden for anyone, but for a 25-year-old girl as well. And comments like, oh, but you got a degree, that's just kind of less than helpful, I suppose, because they're almost just leapfrogging past something that's really admirable. She's put her life on hold in some degree, maybe. I don't know if that's too much to say, but she's put that chapter on hold to kind of step in and well, she said her dad felt unwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she put her life on hold to step in. I personally think that's amazing. And if I was did she say where she's from? I'd be getting coffee from that coffee shop because of that.
You love a coffee shop.
I do.
I think it's really beautiful that she's working with her family. I think it's quite juvenile that people are turning her nose. I think it's quite juvenile that some of her friends are turning their noses up at the opportunity to work with a family business, but also with something that's so lovely like a coffee shop where you really build like a beautiful community. And, you know, you spend a lot of time at our local coffee shops. It's actually one of the things that we would love to do. Do you remember we really wanted to set up like a coffee shop or something in hospitality and kind of have it as a bit of a wellness space, maybe with a gym too. I think that I think it's really admirable. And I think that you don't have to always follow what everybody else is doing.
I'd also say
for most of my life, I was actually a bit of a sheep, and I always just followed that typical trajectory. I went to, a good school, and then we all had, we all were expected to go to university, so we applied, and we wanted to get good grades, and then we were expected to kind of do internships and, get like well-paid jobs afterwards. And I guess one of the best decisions that I ever made was actually going completely off-piste and ending up on TV, which was like really not like the path that anyone expected for me, especially given that I was someone that was like, really struggled with self-confidence and was the one girl out of my whole group of friends that never got on like stage at school. But it's been kind of the best career move. So I think at 25, a lot of people don't know what they want to do and where they want to be.
Yeah,
anyway,
I also
so
think
remove the pressure from you.
age 25 for a girl, potentially even more so, that's a funky time for a 25-year-old because you've got so much like external influence, especially with online social media stuff. And she's probably in a bit of a trap with comparison, and she's probably fueled with ambition and making money. But in reality, I think all that stuff can wait. I think that money can always be made later down the road if it's about money. She's mentioned that it's kind of subject to how the business performs, so that's why I say the money thing. But like 25 is still quite young. That's not meant to sort of like belittle her as a person. She's a 25-year-old woman, but she's got years on her side to really like carve out the next step if there is something she wants to do that's beyond the coffee shop. So my point is like she should. My opinion is that she should maybe enjoy the process a bit more at the coffee shop with the family, because it's actually quite a blessed opportunity. I don't know if this is maybe not entirely true, but the idea of like being in a coffee shop with my family in Devon seems quite sweet. I'm sure there are times where it wouldn't be sweet, but it seems quite sweet.
I think the really cool thing about what you do is that you have autonomy. You know, you're in control of running this business, and that is going to teach you so many lessons, which are then transferable into your next job, whether that's setting something up on your own, partnering with people, or going to work for someone else. I think, you know, we've spoken a bit about the grass always being greener in this episode. You might look at friends who have gone straight into the corporate world and climbing that ladder, but they're dealing with a whole host of issues as well. And we live in a world now where people do kind of move jobs a lot more frequently because people are putting themselves first. I
would argue that you'd have less autonomy working for someone else other than your family. So she's mentioned in there like she wants more autonomy. This could be like grass is green on the other side situation. I very much doubt, like when I was a PT, there was no free time. I was back-to-back clients in a basement gym in Mayfair, and I used to crave autonomy. Like, oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be the answer for me, but it wasn't. I was just working back-to-back, and when I wasn't training clients, I was mopping down treadmills. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not great. And I'd imagine the corporate world is even more strict and restricted on the autonomy. So it's part of the reason why now, doing what we do, the best part of it is that we have autonomy. We can, to certain degrees, control our time and where we go. She might feel somewhat boxed in working in the coffee shop day in, day out, but I would argue that she's got more autonomy than she might realise at this point. I would say that her family have got a bit of a role to play and really acknowledge what she's doing. Make sure that she feels really seen, valued, appreciated, and all that stuff. Because if she's put her life on hold, stepped in to support because dad's unwell, that's an amazing thing. And she's obviously very driven because she's trying to she's looking at the business development and how it's progressing. She's judging her salary on how the business does. She's considerate and smart, and she's learning a lot of life lessons during this chapter, which will go on and benefit in many, many ways. So that's the school of life, baby. That's great. That's better than sat in some Monzo office crunching numbers.
With Beryl from accounts.
Shit. Where is this coffee shop?
I know, right? I think a lot of people in their 20s feel like they're not accomplished.
100%. It's because you don't quite know where you want to go or where you should be going.
And also, I don't know whether we've spoken about this before, where I realised, you don't really know what other people are up to. I realised recently that I don't know what any of my friends do. I don't know what any of them are being paid. I don't know what their commute's like. I don't know who they sit next to at work. I don't know anything about that world. So I think you can fantasize about what other people are doing. And you say, you feel like you want to be on the same level as the people that you're surrounded by and your friends. But really, do you have an insight into what that world looks like? Is it better?
This is the impact of social media, I think. It's easy to assume that things are better.
Do you feel accomplished? I certainly didn't at 25, and I think that you were really smart that you were even asking these questions, because I was just getting through each day. I was just moving. I didn't even have any goals.
At 25, I didn't feel accomplished. No, I mean,
I was a mess.
I was shirtless.
I was a mess on TV, and you were shirtless.
Yeah. Actually felt pretty good at that time. So yes, I did. To answer your question, it's a weird time. It's a transitional time. It's like fresh out of university, and I think there's pressure to figure out the next steps. But in reality,
it's not really fresh out of university though. Isn't uni 18 to 20?
In reality, there's 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. I know someone who's in their mid-50s. They've just left work to take a year off because they're like, I don't enjoy the corporate world. I'm going to take a year out and just figure out what I want to do. At 55.
Loads of examples of people that have made it and started a whole new thing at 40, 50. A lot of creatives.
Yeah, it's I sound like a dad now saying stuff like this, but it is true. Like life goes quick, and like we spend a lot of time sat in our own conversations and unhelpful thoughts about imposter syndromes and doubts and things. Like I actually just think just try and relax all that stuff. Just enjoy making some coffees and being with your mum and dad in the coffee shop, because fucking hell, I feel like there's more enjoyment and more stories to be told come the end of days from that than sat plugging away in a corporate or whatever it is, any other 9-to-5 environment.
Well, it's a new year, beginning of 2025, so lots of room for opportunities. And I think instead of panicking about making a whole new career change, you could start with some small stuff. Like maybe you want to cut down from 6 days working to 5, and write some lists, get all of those thoughts out from your head onto paper, and hopefully you'll find some clarity. And if anyone wants to know what this beautiful little coffee shop is, we'll pop it in the show notes if you want to go and support.
Thank you for that message. That was a nice one, and actually nice to kind of relate to it in some ways, because I just think it's quite a sweet story ultimately. And if you have any more queries, concerns, either from the guy or the girl in the relationship or friendship, let us know, because it's quite fun for us to sit here and unpack it, hopefully shine some light on it from that perspective versus this one, and have a great start to the year. Set some goals. Actually, maybe don't be too fixated on the goals, but set them and then just like acknowledge and appreciate the journey to get there, because that's where the magic happens.
Exactly. It's not all new year, new me.
Goals are whatever. There's too much focus on the end point and destination. Just think about the time in between. And on that note, cheers, you big fat lobster. That was the painting, not Louise. See you next week.
All right, Ricky Gervais.
Just making it clear. Don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Like, subscribe, follow. All the love is welcome. See you next week.
Listen on repeat.
Listen on repeat.